Greetings. Welcome to a Friday episode of Vaygrim's Chance. I hope everybody's had a great week, and I hope you're going to have a great weekend. I want to cut to it. This is probably not going to be a long episode, but it's going to be an episode with purpose. Solar salination, solar evaporation, or a salination plant for mechanism. That's what we're going to do today. I have everything set up for auto crafting. I'm going to tell you how big of a pain in the butt that was. Okay, first of all, you got these little solar generator things you have to make, and they need energy tablets. Now, somewhere down here, I actually have a recipe for, a machine set up to make energy tablets. The problem is the data, the NBT data on there, I don't think it's actually the NBT data because I did ignore NBT and ignore damage. It still doesn't work. There is some kind of metadata, I don't know what else to call it, that is stored on the energy tablet that has to do with, well, actually, it doesn't even have to do with its power level. I can have it ignore that. But it's something else. So basically, when you look at a recipe for one of these things, this is not the same thing that you actually get. What you get is something that's got some other metadata stored on it that is not recognized by any of the actual recipes in NEI. Now, it will work if you try to make a crafting recipe that uses this in place of, uses the thing that actually comes out in place of this. The problem is, if I do shift right click and put this recipe into the crafting table, it's not expecting the real version that's coming out. It's expecting the NEI version, and you don't get that. You get the real version. So basically what you have to do, these are a perfect example. Solar panels, right? Where are, there they are. Okay. I have to put these in here, request one, and then get that and actually physically click them into the recipe as well as an energy tablet. And then I can request one of those and come over here and put it into these slots. It's really a pain in the butt. However, you only have to do it once. So now I can actually request all the parts necessary for a salination plant, which is why I have all of this crap in my inventory. I could make it here, but it's not biome optimal. Plus, they have to have access to the sky. The actual solar panels do. Now, it's better if they make them if you make them in a desert biome. And I don't want to convert any part of this into a desert biome. Now, a lot of people said, hey, it's eternal day in your TARDIS. Plus, you could use Random Things has a biome painter and a biome capsule. That's what I've actually used to convert all of this to Magical Forest. Because I like the grass in Magical Forest is brighter. That's why I like Magical Forest so much. So I could convert part of that to desert, and it's always daytime. But there's another solution that's a bit simpler. If we go back to the trade depot, we have the mining dimension. The mining dimension was made way back when the server started. When I made this dimension, I intentionally made it a checkerboard of two biomes. I made it a checkerboard of the two most difficult to locate biomes for me in 1.7.10. In all of my experiences with Minecraft 1.7.10, I've had either a hard time finding a desert or a hard time finding a jungle, sometimes both. So I made this a jungle desert checkerboard. This is a desert biome, and this is a jungle biome. And see, I can go back over here, desert biome. So we have the Grimco official salination production facility, authorized persons only. I stole this door idea from Birdcraft. So I have a whole bunch of things. Let's get all of these. We have to do a 4x4 of these evaporator blocks. Then we pull these all the way up. Several, I think 15 total layers, right? Well, real quick, I've got two valves that I'm actually going to do. One I'm going to put right there. And another one I'm going to put right there. Then we're going to fill up all the rest of these. And get this thing building. I do hope you've been having a good week so far. Things have been okay for me, despite getting some confusing news from the doctor. Not bad news, just, it doesn't answer the question. So, yeah, otherwise I've been fine. I am taking things one step at a time, one day at a time. And some mornings I wake up feeling kind of oogie. That's the best way I know how to phrase it. But today has been really, really good. I went out to lunch with my favorite person, my wife. We just kind of went out, found a nice Indian place, had some vegetarian food, nothing spicy because that's bad for the ulcer, and generally had fun. Yeah. Let's see. I'm thinking, I can't remember. It's supposed to be the base level plus 15, up to 15 intermediate levels. Now, I did some really bad math, and that calculated out to 196 blocks. So I have 196 blocks, and I'm just going to keep using them. Come on. There we go. Until I run out. I technically think I'm going to have... Whoops. Okay. I think I'm going to have a few too many, but that's okay. I think I should have 4 too many if I remember right. I put these over here. Yeah, I'm going to have 4 too many. That's perfect. Okay. Come back. Okay, I want to put that there. No. Okay, yeah. It just doesn't have the right texture on it. There we go. That updates. Then we get these bad boys. And we are going to put these on the corners. Boom! Particles, salination plant. Okay, here starts the magic. We're going to look at this thing, and it says formed, and temperature, let's see. Yeah, brine. Multiplier 2 times. Height is at 16, which I think is the maximum height. And it's basically building up temperature. That's what this is. I think that's 3.1 kilokelvin. I'm not sure. I'm not going to ask. Now, what we want to do is we want to get this thirsty machine and supply it with some water. We've got, this is a 1-block infinite water source and pressure pipes. I like this thing. I've got some pressure pipes that I'm going to extract and then insert. This should be filling up with water. That is the fastest kind of water pipe that I can make without getting into the cryo-cooled yada-yadas from thermal expansion. I want to make some of those later, but for right now, ender fluid conduits, basically, it extracts at maximum I/O. It's 200 millibuckets per tick. Maximum throughput, 800 millibuckets per tick. Plus, you can actually have multiple fluids going through the same length of pipe. It teleports them from end to end. And we already have tons of brine. Plus, this is still filling up with fluids. So that is awesome. Now what we do is we're going to get, okay, I have to think about this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to pipe it in through the bottom, extract, insert. We now have brine being made. And then I can go... one step. Wait a minute. Oh, I can't actually put it there. That's hilarious. Okay. We're going to have to think about this for a second. Hang on a sec. The barbed wire is in the way. Let's do... Yeah, I'm going to do that there. And then I think technically I'm going to pull one of these out. We're going to go yoink. Put it down there. We're going to set it to receive power. Brine. And we're going to do that to note that it's my brine. We're going to make that a private channel. Boop, and then it is going to send brine. Now what I want to do is insert. This is going to be extract. Now it's going to pull in a little bit to buffer, but it's got nowhere to send it. This is pretty much just a buffer point. I am making this literally so that I've got some place for this to actually keep up, which means I have a buffer on this end, and I'll have another bedrockium drum on the other end. That's going to be glorious. Let's see. That's it. This thing is working at peak efficiency. Water is wet. This is the one problem you usually have. You cannot provide enough water quick enough for this. See, this is getting up to maximum temperature. The higher the temperature gets, the faster it makes brine. And it is making brine really quick. It's making brine faster than I can send it anywhere. So now the real key is going to be the fact that this stuff should be chunk loaded now. If we go into FTB utilities, you notice I fitted this in. I fitted this. Wow. I can speak it good today. I fit this into one chunk quite nicely, and I just control left click, claimed that chunk, and it's being chunk loaded. In theory, if FTB utilities is behaving itself. We're going to go back to the observatory now by way of the trade depot. Let's go over here for giggles because I can. Let's go up this way. Let's see. It's nighttime here on the server. It's Friday evening. I am recording this later than I normally would just because the day has been kind of wacky. But it's been nice. Doggett's been real busy on the server over at the Bermigos part of the woods. I might have to go pay them a visit on Monday's episode just to see what they've been up to. There we go. Hop off here. And we're going to go downstairs. If you notice, all basic factories. Yeah. So now we could actually start hooking that up to some logistics stuff. That's what I want to do on Monday is logistics. I talked about doing it on Wednesday's episode, but then I got sidetracked. Okay, I'm just going to put it here. I need a dimensional, whatever who's it's, and a bedhusium drum. Yes. EMC to save the day. Let's put that there. I don't technically think I need power on this, but we're going to do brine, receive. We're going to put that there. And it's going to be extract. That's already inserting. There we go. It is filling up at a record pace, which means that other chunk is actually loaded. It works. That dimension is not only checkerboarded with that chunk being permanently in desert. Why would the biome change? It's also permanently noon in that mining dimension. I don't have to worry about that chunk unloading. I don't have to worry about nighttime. I'm at peak efficiency 24/7. It's one of the reasons why I put it in that dimension. This is going to fill up at a record pace, which means we're going to have to start looking into what the heck I'm supposed to do with said brine. I need to go on another mining trip. That's maxed out. That is maxing out soon. Let's see. That's kind of going slow. It fills up in fits and bursts based upon the gardens. Let's see. 8.8 thousand. Yeah, that's 8,800 buckets. That is 4,400 buckets of plant oil, ethanol. I could go ahead and do something with those. I might do something with that very, very soon. Oxygen, hydrogen, sulfur dioxide, and brine. Those are the mechanism ones. So I'm going to probably start assembling this cocktail in the very, very near future. I don't know if I'm going to do it soon. The first thing I want to do... Oh. I put those drums there in case somebody wanted to get one because I got to bedrockium before the rest of the people did. Let's cancel that. Let's see. Very, very soon, I'm thinking on Monday, what I want to do is I'm going to spend the Monday episode setting up, showing you guys how I do the logistical transporter. One method I use for my quote unquote efficient ore production or ore processing factory. It actually works really well. It is scalable, quote unquote, and it works quite efficiently. I like it. It's a really good design. But let me think. Technically, I could get rid of this and I could move all this down one so I could have this up against the wall. And I might do that between this episode and next. This is maxed out on oxygen, basically. Yeah. So I think on Monday's episode, I'm going to do logistical transporter so you guys can see how I would normally do a ore processing lineup. Automated ore processing. This is one way to do it. Plus, in the future, we're going to add another pair of machines here and then a couple of machines here, and it's going to get a longer and longer and longer chain. We're going to have more stuff down here that we're going to have to do in order to back that chain up with more chemicals and all sorts of crazy stuff. So we're not even close to mechanism end game yet. I haven't even touched like reactors and all sorts of crazy stuff. But yeah, it's going to be fun. I really am excited about this. Let's go check on the brine real quick. That is trucking. That is pretty much 114 buckets already, which is amazing. Yeah. So I basically, my brine problems are solved. I don't have to worry about that. I got to figure out what I want to do with this. I'm pretty sure you can boil sludge. What isn't there? Isn't there a sludge? That comes from the farms, all the machines running the farms. Yeah, there's a sludge boiler that gives you stuff. Use a little bit of power, and it puts off a stink radius of about 3 by 3 blocks. But I maybe could put one right there. I could just run the power, or I could put it here, pipe the sludge down over, pipe the power up under, and then run whatever output it has into the sorting system. That could be useful. That's a way to get dirt and other stuff, clay blocks, I think, if I remember right. I can't remember what it gave, but meh. Holy cow, that's trucking. Wow. Okay, so we have a max height salination plant that's running at max temperature, and it's running around the clock, max time frame. I think we've started off on a good foot. It's chunk loaded, which means it's going to be running all the time. So, let's see. Logistical transporter next. After that, I really need to reopen the Thaumcraft books. I kind of stepped away from it for a little bit because I hit a point where I don't have a lot of the research, I don't have a lot of the points I've needed. I've scanned tons of stuff, but I run out of the aspects to keep doing the research, basically, in the book. So basically, at this far in the game, I think what I'm going to do, and I know some of you aren't going to like this, but what are you doing there? I am probably going to craft the cheat sheet and unlock everything. I think that's what I'm probably going to do, because then I can actually go whole hog into a whole bunch of stuff. Like, I would really love to experiment with automagy. Automagy? Yeah, automagy. Automagy basically has a magical equivalent of logistics pipes, which I think sounds wicked. I want to actually get those guys over here, or maybe down here, and actually have a fully automated system for topping off certain kinds of liquid vis. I think that could be really cool. So yeah, we have a lot of ways to go. Plus, we're making headway on blood magic. I want to start doing some elemental summonings next, because that's important. I need to get some lesser demon shards things. So yeah, we've got a lot of projects ahead. Still a ways to go. Thank you very much for joining me on this Friday episode of Vaygrim's Chance. Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm not done. I'm not done. I almost forgot. Almost wound up. Bye, Sana. Bye, Sana. I hired a contractor. Yes. Let's go see what said contractor's work turned out to be, shall we? Oh, it looks glorious. Yes. Okay, this is the handy. Wow, he really tricked this thing out. This is the handiwork of Mr. Hades, one of the Bramigos, new guys on the server. He did this on my test. We were testing out builds to make sure this build would work on the test server. And he was basically, while I was doing some of the, altar setup and the witches in place and getting the black glass in place and stuff like that, he was basically tricking it out and making it look just glorious. And he went even more crazy. I love the slopes. It's so subtle. You just whoop, 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 whoop. Wow. That is super nice. I really like this. It's really spruces the room up. Now, I put these down. I'm not dead set on keeping these as a black beam, but it does kind of fit the black glass and everything. But yeah, he basically spruced this up for me to make it look a little bit more interesting, make it a little flashier. And I honestly love it. I really do think he did a wonderful job. So everybody make sure you go to youtube.com/Paul1984Chis. I believe that's right. CHIS. I will try and remember. Oh no, actually, he's in a link on the, if you go to my main YouTube page, on my main page on YouTube, Mr. Hades actually has a link with the rest of the Bromigos and all my friends on down the right side where it says with my friends. Yeah, he's got a link over there. Go click on him, give him some views, give him some thumbs up, tell him I said hi. I think he did a great job. By the way, yeah, speed rune, augmented capacity rune, rune of the orb, which basically means, okay, I got to remember what each one of these actually does. Speed rune is the efficiency. It's how quickly stuff gets used in the actual basin. So the more speed runes you have, the quicker it is absorbed by your target object. That's not 100% true. Basically, the more speed runes you have, the more often the altar will tick. Does that make sense? So the end result is that the blood gets absorbed into the blood orb quicker, but it's actually the altar working faster. Runes of augmented capacity. I don't actually have my division sigil. That's a letdown. Okay, so one of these basically increases, if I remember right, Rune of the Orb increases how much actual blood I have in my blood network. So instead of having 1 million, I have 1,800,000 or 1,080,000. That's what it is. So basically, that's what these do. 1,080,000 LP in my blood network because I only have a tier 4 altar thing. I mean, I have a tier 5 altar, but I only have a tier 4 orb right now. And then this augmented capacity increases how much the actual altar itself holds. That stops normally at 10,000 LP. Well, this goes up to, I think, 20,000. So it's going to be awesome. I'm going to really boost the efficiency of that thing. And as you can see, it works like a champ. I have tested it, and it does, in fact, keep working even while I'm out of the TARDIS. So it fills its purpose gloriously. Thank you very much, Mr. Hades, for swinging by and sprucing up the place. I'm going to actually call it here. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm seriously calling it here this time. I'm not going to forget something and then run off. Am I? No, I'm not. Okay. So I will catch you guys on the Monday episode. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.